Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going to break down one of the most ridiculously complex project management challenges you could possibly imagine. We're talking about taking a brand new, first-of-its-kind warship, basically a floating city with fighter jets, and proving it can actually do its job out at sea. So how do you even begin to manage a project with a budget that's north of $3 billion US? A project that needs over 340 kilometers of piping woven through its steel corridors. And get this, enough electrical cable to wrap around the entire planet more than 6 times. Well, you do it by building India's very first homegrown aircraft carrier, the INS Vikrant. And today, we're going to get into the weeds of how they managed this unbelievable complexity, when failure was just not an option. All right, here's our game plan for breaking this down. We're going to start with the sheer scale of the project, then look at the surprising power of just pen and paper. We'll dive into the chaos of the first-ever trials, see the process they invented to tame it, and finally, explore the powerful legacy they built. Okay, first things first, we really need to get our heads around the massive scale of this challenge. And I mean, we're not just talking about a big boat here. Think of it as a literal floating city, built from the ground up. I mean, you have to understand, this was a massive leap into the unknown for the entire country. We're talking about a project that stretched for nearly 2 decades. Nothing like it had ever been designed or built in India before. They were literally writing the rulebook as they went along. So, with a project this huge and this complex, what's the very first thing you do? You're probably thinking some kind of high-tech software, right? Or maybe some crazy complex algorithm? Well, the answer is way, way simpler than that. And honestly, it's kind of profound. The project manager, a guy named Sarup Kumar, had this incredible insight from his time working on old Russian and Royal Navy ships. He realized their most powerful tool wasn't digital, it was paper. Meticulous, detailed, handwritten logs that tracked the entire history of every single piece of equipment. He saw that this forgotten art of just writing things down was the key. And just listen to what he said. It really hits home, doesn't it? It points to this universal problem. So much critical knowledge in any company, on any team, just lives inside people's heads. Kumar knew that to beat this complexity, they first had to get that knowledge out of people's heads and onto paper. Okay, so let's jump forward. The ship is built. It's this incredible feat of engineering just sitting there at the dock. But here's the thing. A warship isn't really a warship until you've pushed it to its absolute limits at sea. And this is where things got really, really difficult. Just look at the mountain they had to climb. This was the first time a carrier trial like this was happening entirely in India. See, before, they were done in the UK or Russia. So there was no playbook, no mother document to follow. And because the project took 2 decades, the original planners, they were long gone. On top of that, you had different contracts, different teams, all with their own way of doing things. It was organized chaos. They were flying completely blind. So what do you do in a situation like that? Well, they couldn't just find a solution in a textbook. They had to invent one from scratch. They literally had to forge a new playbook while they were in the middle of the game. And where did they start? With a classic fundamental tool of project management, the work breakdown structure. Now, it sounds fancy, but the idea is actually super simple. You take a huge, terrifyingly complex project, and you break it down into tiny, manageable pieces. And this is where they scored their first huge win. They went to everyone, dug through all the different plans, and basically said, okay, let's add this up. So you're telling me there are 195 major pieces of equipment on this ship. They made this master list and sent it around to get everyone to sign off on it. For the very first time, everyone agreed on what was actually on the ship they were supposed to be testing. They turned an abstract monster into a concrete checklist. And that became the core of their new 4-step process. Step 1, redefine the entire scope. Get everyone on the same page. Step 2, create that master list of all 195 systems. Step 3, and this is the genius part, conduct dry drills. And finally, step 4, use the data from those drills to get the exact right people you need at the exact right time. These dry drills were an absolute game changer. I mean, it's brilliant. They would literally walk through an entire test procedure without flipping a single switch. They'd get a stopwatch and time how long it took a guy to just walk from one end of this massive ship to another to get to a specific control panel. By doing this, they could build a hyper-accurate schedule. No more guessing. They knew exactly who they needed and for exactly how many hours. But here's the thing. This whole process wasn't just about passing a test. The real, ultimate goal was something much bigger. It was about capturing all this hard-won knowledge and creating something that would last forever. So they ended up creating this incredible library of documents, a legacy that would serve the ship for its entire 50-year life. They created the mother document they never had, called the CAT-T. They created trial compendiums, which are basically the complete life story of every single part, and the TAP-AD, which was like the final report card for every system. And here's what that actually looks like in the real world. Imagine it's 20 years from now. An engineer has a problem with, say, water pump number 7. They can just pull up the file and see, okay, it was designed for 120 tons per hour, but during the actual sea trials, it only delivered 100, and that was accepted as its new official limit. That is priceless, real-world data that would have otherwise been completely lost. And it all comes back to this one powerful idea from Sarup Kumar. Great project management isn't about one brilliant person saving the day. It's about building a brilliant system, a documented process that outlasts any single individual and empowers the whole organization for decades to come. So, the story of the INS Vikrant's trials is so much more than just a story about a warship. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the most revolutionary act, the key to doing the impossible, is the simple, disciplined act of just writing things down. It leaves you with a question, right? What crucial knowledge in your world, in your job, on your team, exists only in someone's memory?